Hey, so today we are talking about A Poison Tree by William Blake. A Poison Tree is a poem by English poet William Blake, first published in his Songs of Experience in 1794. In deceptively simple language with an almost nursery rhyme quality, the speaker of the poem details two different approaches to anger. In the first, openly talking about the anger is presented as a way of moving past it. In the second, the speaker outlines the danger of keeping anger with him. The poem uses an extended metaphor to describe the speaker's anger and growing into a tree that bears poisonous apples. The speaker's enemy then eats an apple from the tree and dies. The poem is generally interpreted as an allegory for the danger of bottling up emotions and how doing so leads to a cycle of negativity and even violence. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath. My wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. So Blake here originally gave the title of Christian Forbearance to this poem. So here he tells us that when he was angry with his friend and he simply told his friend that he was annoyed and that put an end to his bad feelings. But when he was angry with his enemy, he did not air his grievance to his foe and so his anger grew. So here Blake is giving us a token of life, a code of life, that how to maintain the social relations, that if we keep developing bad feelings for someone, that eventually grows into a tree that is a poisonous tree, and that is ultimately the result of your those strong feelings which you expressed and you could not express. So if we are in a state that we are angry at someone, the better thing is to clear up the situation. So यहाँ पे ब्लेक बता रहा है कि मैंने अपने दोस्त के साथ अपने गुस्से का इजहार किया क्योंकि मुझे उस पर गुस्सा था, तो मेरा गुस्सा ख़त्म हो गया. लेकिन जब मुझे अपने दुश्मन पे गुस्सा था तो मैं इसका इजहार ना कर सका और ये चीज़ बढ़ती गई. तो ये चीज़ इन द एंड इवेंचुअली एक पॉइजनस ट्री में डेवलप होती है. तो ये एक सोशल रिलेशनिंग के हवाले से ब्लेक ने बड़ी खूबसूरत सी एक टोकन दिया लाइफ का. ही मीन्स टू से कि अगर आपको कोई गुस्सा है किसी के साथ भी, इवन फ्रेंड्स के साथ भी, तो आप उसे एक्सप्रेस करो. जब तक आप उसे अपने दिल में रखोगे वो चीज़ डेवलप होती रहेगी पॉइजनस ट्री के अंदर, लेकिन आप इसे एक्सप्रेस कर देंगे तो वो चीज़ फ़ौरन ख़त्म हो जाएगी. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears, and I sunned it with smiles and with soft deceitful wiles. So in the second stanza, Blake turns to the central title metaphor of the poem, likening his anger to a tree that he watered with fear and resentment. Then more curiously, he says that the false smiles he put on whenever he saw his enemy acted like the sunlight helping a tree to grow. By bottling up his anger, he made it worse, and by putting on soft, deceitful voiles, which are tricks and cover-ups to hide his true feelings, so his anger continued to grow and moved into something more devious, which was the need for vengeance. So here he means to say that he watered like every plant needs water and sun. So यहाँ पे जो water था वो उसके खदशात थे पोइट के, और उसमें पानी की जगह इसके आंसू जा रहे थे. स्माइल की जगह ये यानी सन, उसकी रोशनी भी ज़रूरी होती है पौधे के लिए, तो उसकी जगह इसकी स्माइल्स थी. और डिसीटफुल वाइल्स जो उसके ट्रिक्स थे, यानी apparently he was good with his enemy but at heart उसके अंदर बैड फीलिंग्स डेवलप हो रही थी. वो स्माइल देता था जो जिससे लगे कि पोइट के दिल में कोई खलिश नहीं है, हालांकि उसके दिल में खलिश थी। तो टू फेस्ड एटीट्यूड हमें यहाँ पे नज़र आ रहा है। सो इससे क्या हुआ, ये एक इतनी डिसीटफुल वाइल्स थी ये कि जो एनिमी था ही वॉज ट्रैक्ड इनटू इट, उसको कुछ फील नहीं हुआ कि समथिंग बैड इज़ टू बी प्लॉटेड अगेंस्ट हिम, उसके खिलाफ कोई काम चल रहा है, क्योंकि अपेरेंटली एवरीथिंग वाज कूल। एट हार्ट ये कुछ डेवलपमेंट हो रही थी उन खदशात की, उन वाइल्स की, डिसीट्स की, जो कि उस फो के, उस एनिमी के अगेंस्ट जा रही थी। एंड इट grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. So, in this third stanza, an apple sprouts from this poisonous tree, which is a tree of anger. This apple bright attracts the attention of his enemy, who feels and knows that this tree and apple both belong to the poet, the writer. So, this is again a deception, a trap, which is so alluring and so attractive and captivating that the foe is compelled to come towards it. तो जो उसने ट्रैप लगाया, यानी जो उसने एक एप्पल ट्री की डेवलपमेंट हुई, जो एप्पल की डेवलपमेंट हुई, बेसिकली वो उस पॉइजन के ज़रिए इस या उस एंगर का रिजल्ट था जो कि पोइट के दिल में था। लेकिन लास्ट स्टेंजा में हमने देखा कि जो एनिमी है उसको इस चीज़ का अदराक नहीं है कि ये जो फल है ये कैसा फल है, तो उसकी आउटर शाइन से, उस ब्राइटर एप्पल से इम्प्रेस होके उसका दिल चाहा कि वो इस चीज़ को हासिल करे। And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. So the foe, when he came to the writer's, the poet's house, he sneaked into his garden one night and ate the apple from this tree. When the poet finds his enemy the next morning, he finds him lying dead under the tree, having eaten the poisonous fruit. So result ये निकला कि वो आया चुपके चुपके इसके घर में और उसने मौके का फ़ायदा उठा के तन्हाई देख के उस एप्पल को लिया, उतार के खाया, लेकिन वो चूँकि पॉइजनस एप्पल था, उसका रिज़ल्ट ये निकला कि वो उधर ही उसकी जान निकल गई, वो वहाँ पे मर गया। सो ये उस गुस्से का रिज़ल्ट था, उस पॉइज़न का रिज़ल्ट था जो कि मेटाफोरिकली उस एप्पल के ज़रिए दिखाया गया, जो कि उस पोइट के दिल में था अपने दुश्मन के लिए। अब यहाँ से हमें पता लगता है कि कई दफ़ा हमारे इमोशंस या फीलिंग्स कितनी जहरीली हो जाती हैं, कितनी पॉइजनस हो जाती हैं। समटाइम्स वी डोंट नीड अ वेपन टू किल समवन, वी नीड द वर्ड्स टू। हम अल्फाज का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं किसी को मारने के लिए। तो वो जो अल्फाज हैं वो कहाँ से जन्म लेते हैं? वो इसी पॉइजनस ट्री से जन्म लेते हैं, उन्हीं पॉइजनस इमोशन से जन्म लेते हैं जिनको ख़त्म किया जा सकता था एक टाइम में, लेकिन वो टाइम निकल गया। हमने उस बीज को भी बो दिया, हमने उसको अपने फेयर्स टेयर्स से, उसको अपनी स्माइल से उसको परवान चढ़ाया, वो दरख्त बन गया, फिर उसके ऊपर डेवलपमेंट हुई, उसके ऊपर एक एप्पल बन गया, फ्रूट आ गया। यानी हमारा गुस्सा बढ़ता रहा, हमारी बैड फीलिंग्स, बैड इंटेंशंस बढ़ती रहीं। हमारा रिलीजन भी ये कहता है कि किसी के लिए दिल में कदूरत ना रखी जाए, किसी के लिए दिल में कोई रंजिश ना रखी जाए, अदावत ना रखी जाए। आप माफ़ करते हैं तो दिल से माफ़ करें। हम शब बारात पे अक्सर मैसेज करके एक दूसरे से माफ़ी मांगते हैं, लेकिन उसके वी डोंट रियली मीन इट, और ना हम किसी को माफ़ करते हैं। हमारी इंटेंशंस वही रहती हैं जिस तरह थी, हमारी फीलिंग्स किसी के बारे में या ओपिनियंस वही रहती हैं जो थी। तो हम अगर किसी को सच्चे दिल से माफ़ करके आगे चलेंगे तो ये पॉइजनस ट्री की डेवलपमेंट नहीं होगी। The poet has discussed the quality of human nature in this poem. He says that his anger with his friend vanishes as soon as he expresses it, but he does not air his annoyance with his foe, which grows and morphs into something poisonous. He further adds that he nurtures his anger with fears, resentment, sarcasms, and fake smiles. These feelings grow as a poison tree or a tree of anger, and a shiny fruit sprouts from the tree. And one day, when the enemy eats it, he dies at once. So, this is the result of the hatred, which is a prominent theme of the poem. Apart from hatred, anger, revenge are also the major themes of the poem. The poet discusses the catastrophic effects of the unexpressed anger. The poet very artistically delves deep into the darkest side of the human mind and captures the damage that the anger does to the heart, where it nourishes and becomes poison. Blake explains that it is very easy to forgive friends, but enemies are never forgiven. And when a person tries to hide his hatred, it gradually grows and develops into a mighty and destructive force, just like that bright apple, which was apparently so alluring, but it was poisonous. Blake in this poem has used antithesis, which is basically a figure of speech, and it refers to the juxtaposition of opposing or contrasting ideas. So Blake has used this device in the first opening lines, and he focuses on telling a friend about anger. It goes, he tells it, he doesn't tell it to his enemy, it stays and grows. So this is the antithesis or juxtaposition of two contrasting ideas. Then he has also used alliteration, I told my wrath did end. There is allusion in the poem, like he says about garden, apple, the tree, which is obviously an allusion to the Garden of Eden, from where Eve plucked the apple and all the woes came to the world. He has also used metaphor. So apple is used as metaphor, and till it bow, and apple bright is the example. So here apple is a metaphor of the fruit of his grudge, the fruit of his hatred, or a fruit born out of his anger. So there is also symbolism. So the tree symbolizes his wrath and anger, where garden is the symbol of the heart where he is growing that tree, where the hatred is basically growing. He has also used imagery. So William Blake has used visual imagery throughout the poem to make his reader create a mental picture such as, and it grew both day and night till it bore, an apple bright, my foe outstretched beneath the tree. So these are the lines which create imagination, or they bring imagery from the poem. So there are four stanzas of this poem. So Blake has used quatrain, which is a four-line stanza. Basically, it was borrowed from the Persian poetry. So here each stanza is quatrain, as the first one and the second one. Rhyme scheme that is used in this poem is AABB, just like in the chimney sweeper. So rhyming couplet are used here. So rhyming couplet he has used in this poem. The meter is trokchi, which there are two types of syllable that are used in trokchi, which the first is stressed and the second is an unstressed one. So this is what or how he has rhymed the poem. So this is basically the poem of expression, the poem of expressing the ideas, suggestions, opinions. If we keep them to ourselves, we definitely help them growing or developing into poisonous trees. But if we express them, on the other hand, we will not develop a poisonous tree. जिस तरह उसने बताया कि आपका दिल जो है बेसिकली वो एक गार्डन है और जो ट्री डेवलप हो रहा है उसमें वो एक हेट्रेट का सिंबल है। तो जिस तरह हम एक खाली जगह पे कोई चीज़ लगा देते हैं तो वो जगह फिल हो जाती है, तो हम अपने दिल के अंदर भी जब ऐसी कोई चीज़ उगा देते हैं तो वो जगह फिल हो जाती है। तो अगर हम उसे नहीं उगाएंगे तो हमारे हार्ट में वो स्पेस एम्प्टी रहेगी। हमें उसे पानी देने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है, उसकी टेंडिंग केयरिंग की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है। सो दैट मीन्स कि अगर हम एक चीज़ को अवॉइड करें तो हम बहुत सारी चीज़ों को अवॉइड कर सकते हैं। Moreover, the couplet Night and Bright draws attention to the deceptive beauty of the apple as repression turns into vengeful feelings. The apple extends the metaphor of the poison tree as a symbol of repressed anger. The apple also alludes to the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. Like Adam and Eve, the speaker's foe is tempted with the forbidden fruit, just like Eve, and conscious that they should not take it, but still he eats it. The adjective bright and verb shine are both positioned at the end of an unstopped line, which emphasizes the temptation provided by the apple, as both create a lexical field of beauty. So, this was all from A Poison Tree by William Blake. We'll keep coming with more poems and analysis. Thank you very much. Stay tuned.